Today's Shiurim are dedicated by the Begun family, Leili Nishmas, Gedalia Ruvain ben Meir, Gerald Begun, whose yahrzeit is today, Chaf Daled Sivan. He should be a male Yosher for his whole family, for Simchas Hanachas, Ad Bias Goel Tzedek. Okay, Bruchim Abam, welcome friends. You know, our shir this Wednesday night was predicated on the following question. The question was that the Meraglim should have learned a lesson from Miriam. Lama nismacha Parsha Meraglim le Miriam, because the Meraglim saw what happened to Miriam and they did not learn a lesson. They did not learn a lesson. They should have learned from what Miriam said about Moshe, the stringency of Lashon Hara. So we asked what I think is a very powerful question, and that is Lashon Hara is Bein Adam Lachaveroi. The main reason for the prohibition is because we insult someone, we hurt someone, and therefore, accordingly, if you speak about an inanimate object, there should be no halacha of rechilos Lashon Hara, moitzi shemra, because obviously the inanimate object has no feelings. So what do you want from the Meraglim? What exactly should the Meraglim have learned from what Miriam did? Of course, Miriam was punished because she spoke Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu. But Moshe Rabbeinu is a human being, and there is no source in the Torah that you can't talk Lashon Hara about an inanimate object. Based on this question and a number of other supports, developed an idea that Eretz Yisrael is part of the national makeup of Klal Yisrael, and speaking Lashon Hara on Eretz Yisrael is not speaking Lashon Hara on an inanimate object, it is speaking Lashon Hara on the very nation that is Klal Yisrael. That was the idea that we developed on Wednesday night. My friend Rav Don Muller shared with me that Rav Shimon Schwab asks this same question, and from this question he develops a different approach, and I want to share it with you. I'm still good with the approach that we said because I think there's a lot of basis for it, but I still would like to share with you the approach of Rav Schwab in the Mayan Beis HaShayeva. Rav Schwab says, at first glance, how can you hold the Meraglim accountable just because Miriam was speaking about Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu is a human being. He's a great tzaddik. The laws of Lashon Hara apply to other people. But there is no basis and no source that it would apply to an inanimate object. Says Reb Schwab, there is one ingredient, though, that was overlooked. And that is, if you look in Parshas Behaloischa, after Miriam spoke Lashon Hara about Moshe to Aaron, the pasuk calls out, "V'ha'ish Moshe anav ma'od mikol ha'adam asher al pnei ha'adama." Rashi says, "Anav shafal, savlan." He's humble, he's tolerant. Meaning, as the Rambam explains, when he heard about this indictment and this criticism, his reaction was no reaction. His heart did not feel any animosity, any hard feelings. Because of his humility, it is as if they spoke Lashon Hara on an inanimate object. He was like a stone. He wasn't insulted, he wasn't hurt. When Miriam said, Moshe is not greater than Avram, Moshe was thinking to himself, she didn't say anything wrong. Moshe probably thought, I'm less than Avram. He had no human hurt from what she said. Oh, Moshe is such an anav, and he wasn't hurt, and he didn't mind, and he was moichal. So then why in the world was Miriam punished? Must be that this even, quote unquote, this heart that had no human hurt for what they said, is not just a regular even. This even is a chefza de kedusha. It's an item of holiness. It's an article of holiness. It's like tashmishe kedusha. Because he speaks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's the conduit of the Torah to Klal Yisrael. He's the Navi Hashem. The Shechina is Shiur on him. So he, so to speak, is an ambassador of God. Now, they didn't just speak on an inanimate object. They spoke on a chefza shel kedusha. That's why the Rebbeinu Shem reprimands Moshe, Miriam and Aaron. Shimuna devarai, imia neviachem, loichein avdi Moshe b'chol beisi, neman hu, pel dabro, tzmazem yabit. Don't you understand the greatness of Moshe Rabbeinu? Why aren't you afraid to speak about him? Even though he's an anav, you're not accountable because of the fact that you hurt a human being's feelings. You're accountable because you spoke about a chefza shel kedusha. So the Meraglim should say, well, wait a second. The laws of Lashon Hara apply even to an even of kedusha, a chefza shel kedusha. Because it belongs to Hashem, it's associated with Hashem. And what if it's the land of Hashem? What if it's the land that Hashem associates with? What if Hashem says about this land, Ki li haaretz? The Sforno says on the pasuk, Ki li haaretz, that it's Eretz Hashem, we're just passing through, but it belongs to God, meaning relative vis-a-vis other lands. Eretz Yisrael is like Hashamayim Shamayim LaHashem. It belongs to Hashem. So from the fact that Miriam spoke about Moshe, and Moshe had no hard feelings, and still she's accountable. Why is she accountable? Because Moshe is not just someone who doesn't feel. Moshe Rabbeinu is a chefza shel kedusha. So they should have learned that you can't speak about Eretz Yisrael either. That's Rabbi Schwab's approach to what the Meraglim should have learned out from what happened to Miriam. Okay, Rabbi Say, that's a short offering on Parshas Shelach, and I'm going to share with you from Rabbeinu Yonah on Pirkei Avos.
Recording stopped.